Omasantachyavaktasya gnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam yena bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadhvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostate Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sate Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhayevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Srimad Bhagavatam prayers. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayet. Shunvatam swakatha Krishna punya shravana kirtana hridayantasto hiya bhadrani vidhunoti shuhatsatam. नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवते उत्तमाश्लोके भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय Hare Krishna devotees, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Wishing you all a very happy Gita Jayanti today. And seeking all of your prayers and blessings to recite some verses of Srimad Bhagavatam today. So let me share my screen. Okay, hold on, I'm not seeing screen. Oh yeah, here, never mind. I see it. Okay. So we're reading today from Canto 3, Chapter 31, text 41 through 43. Yesterday there was some difficulty with the with the link. So I think Lakshmikanta Prabhu asked me to read these verses were not recited yesterday. So we will recite them together today. So text 41. Yam manyate patim mohan manmayam rishabhayatim stritvam stri sangata prapto vitta patyagraha pradam. Synonyms: Yam, which, Manyate, she thinks, Patim, her husband, Mohat, due to illusion, Matmayam, my Maya, Rishabha, in the form of a man, Ayatim, coming, Stritvam, the state of being a woman, Stri Sangataha, from attachment to a woman, Praptaha, obtained, Vitta, wealth, Apatya, progeny, Graha, house, Pradam, bestowing. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Translation: a living entity who, as a resultant of attachment to a woman in his previous life, has been endowed with the form of a woman, foolishly looks upon Maya in the form of a man, her husband, as the bestower of wealth, progeny, house, and other material assets. Purport: from this source it appears that a woman is also supposed to have been a man in her previous life, and due to his attachment to his wife, he now has the body of a woman. Bhagavad Gita confirms this. A man gets his next life's birth according to what he thinks of at the time of death. If someone is too attached to his wife, naturally he thinks of his wife, and at the time of death and his next life he takes the body of a woman. Similarly, if a woman thinks of her husband at the time of death, naturally she gets the body of a man in the next life. In the Hindu scriptures, therefore, woman's chastity and devotion to men is greatly emphasized. A woman's attachment to her husband may elevate her to the body of a man in her next life, but a man's attachment to a woman will degrade him, and in his next life he will get the body of a woman. We should always remember, as it is stated in Bhagavad Gita, that both the gross and subtle material bodies are dresses. They are the shirt and the coat of the living entity. To be either a woman or a man only involves one's bodily dress. The soul in nature is actually the marginal energy of the Supreme Lord. Every living entity being classified as energy is supposed to be originally a woman, or one who is enjoyed. In the body of a man, there is a greater opportunity to get out of the material clutches. There is less opportunity in the body of a woman. In this verse, it is indicated that the body of a man should not be misused through forming an attachment to women and thus becoming too entangled in material enjoyment, which will result in getting the body of a woman in the next life. A woman is generally fond of household prosperity, ornaments, furniture, and dresses. She is satisfied when the husband supplies all these things sufficiently. The relationship between man and woman is very complicated, but the substance is that one who aspires to ascend to the transcendental stage of spiritual realization should be very careful in accepting the association of a woman. In the stage of Krishna consciousness, however, such restriction of association may be slackened because if a man's and woman's attachment is not to each other but to Krishna, then both of them are equally eligible to get out of the material entanglement and reach the abode of Krishna. As it is confirmed in Bhagavad Gita, anyone who seriously takes to Krishna consciousness, whether in the lowest species of life or woman or of the less intelligent classes, such as the mercantile or laborer class, will go back home, back to Godhead, and reach the abode of Krishna. A man should not be attached to a woman, nor should a woman be attached to a man. Both man and woman should be attached to the service of the Lord. Then there is a possibility of liberation from material entanglement for both of them. Text 42. Tamatmano vijaniyat patyaptyagrahatatmakam devopashaditam mrityum mrigayorgayanam yatha. Translation: a woman, therefore, should consider her husband, her house, and her children to be arrangement of the external energy of the Lord for her death, just as the sweet singing of the hunter is death for the deer. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. In these instructions of Lord Kapila Dev, it is explained that not only is woman the gateway to hell for man, but man is also the gateway to hell for woman. It is a question of attachment. A man becomes attached to a woman because of her service, her beauty, and many other assets. And similarly, a woman becomes attached to a man for his giving her a nice place to live, ornaments, dress, and children. It is a question of attachment for one another. As long as either is attached to the other for such material enjoyment, the woman is dangerous for the man, and the man is also dangerous for the woman. But if the attachment is transferred to Krishna, both of them become Krishna conscious, and then marriage is very nice. Srila Rupa Goswami therefore recommends anasaktasya vishayan yatha arham upayunjataha nirbandha Krishna sambandhe yuktam vairagyam uchyate. Man and woman should live together as householders in relationship with Krishna, only for the purpose of discharging duties in the service of Krishna. Engage the children, engage the wife, and engage the husband, all in Krishna conscious duties. And then all these bodily or material attachments will disappear. Since the medium is Krishna, the consciousness is pure, and there is no possibility of degradation at any time. Text 43. Dehena jiva bhutena lokala lokam anuvrajan bhunjana eva karmani karotya aviratam puman. Translation. Due to his particular type of body, the materialistic living entity wanders from one planet to another, following fruitive activities. In this way, he involves himself in fruitive activities and enjoys the result incessantly. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. When the living entity is encaged in the material body, he is called Jiva Bhuta. And when one is free from the material body, he is called Brahma Bhuta. By changing his material body, birth after birth, he travels not only in the different species of life, but also from one planet to another. Lord Chaitanya says that the living entities, bound up by fruitive activities, are wandering in this way throughout the whole universe. And if by some chance or by pious activities they get in touch with the bona fide spiritual master, by the grace of Krishna, then they get the seed of devotional service. After getting this seed, if one sows it within his heart and pours water on it by hearing and chanting, the seed grows into a big plant, and there are fruits and flowers which the living entity can enjoy. Even in this material world, that is called the Brahma Bhuta stage. In his designated condition, a living entity is called materialistic, and upon being freed from all designations, when he is fully Krishna conscious, engaged in devotional service, he is called liberated. Unless one gets the opportunity to associate with bona fide spiritual master, by the grace of the Lord, there is no possibility of one's liberation from the cycle of birth and death in the different species of life and through the different grades of planets. So I'm gonna just stop sharing here for it. Give me 1 second. I realized I left my notes upstairs. I will be right back. Sorry. So, so we're reading in these three verses. The first two verses are describing that how this attachment to men and women is binding for both of them, and then how uh, this Maya, comes as a man and also in the form of a woman to delude the living entities. But solution is also given that whether one is in body of a man or a woman, if one develops attachment to Krishna and Krishna conscious activities, then there is no there is no entanglement. So that is the kind of the essence that I took from those verses. And I had prepared for text 43, so that's what I have a little bit more. Um, yeah. So yeah, in text 43, we're saying um, that's how every jiva is given a certain type of body, and then according to that body, uh, one is acting under the modes of material nature. So it is, just as a fish cannot survive in the sky, or the bird cannot live underwater. The Because a soul is entangled in material activities, cannot go to the spiritual world. But and so then the living entity continues to wander from one uh, from one place to another. And just as we're traveling, then by some mercy of the Lord or a devotee of the Lord, if one comes into contact, as Prabhupada is saying, that as the living entities wandering throughout the universe, but by some chance, if they get in touch with the bona fide spiritual master, then they receive the seed of devotional service. And then that, as one pours it, water on it by hearing and chanting, it grows. So just as we're hearing in the first two verses, how there is an attachment due to a living entity being under the influence of Maya. So, as one chants and hears that attachment, or the living entities becomes more attached to Krishna, and then as that stage, or as the living entity becomes clear of these material influences, then they come to the stage of Brahmabhuta stage, where it's considered one is liberated even when they're living in this material world. But all of this is possible when one associates with a bona fide spiritual master. So that is, in one sense, the beginning of one's spiritual life. So, as we hear these, some of the reflections, I was having for myself, that, even though we hear these messages consistently, as we read Srimad Bhagavatam, as we read the messages of Bhagavad Gita, even in the first verse, we read that at the end of life in Bhagavad Gita, whatever one's mind is concentrated on, that's what gives them the next body. So, as we're going through, or we're trying to traverse in our spiritual life, where is, where are my attachments? Where are our attachments really? If, am I just busy, collecting and making myself comfortable in this mature world, and somehow just have spiritual part of it along with that, or as we read in the verse of Rupa Goswami, that everything, this anasakta vishayan, where everything we engage in the service of the Lord, where we even our material activities become spiritual. So somehow or other, just something to definitely ponder on and reflect upon for each one of us. I was thinking this, it's a self-evaluation, self-honesty as to where we are. Sorry, this thing popped up and I can't get it out of. Sorry, my screen froze. Okay. So, yeah, that's about, what I've just was thinking on these few verses. And, I just, for myself, I had this one question, if I can open up my. That, what I didn't understand, and maybe if you have, okay, let me just maybe. Yeah, that if yeah, a woman's attachment to her husband may elevate her body to men in her next life, but a man's attachment to a woman will degrade him in his next life. He'll get the body of a woman. No, actually, where is this? Sorry, I lost my space. Yeah, something along those lines, like how.
Mataji, I think you're muted. You went on mute.
Oh, when did I do that? Sorry, I didn't realize that.
Just a few seconds.
Oh, just a few seconds. Okay. So yeah, I was trying to find that exact one. I just lost it, where it was a little bit confusing for me. That yeah, a woman's, anyway, I lost it. But yeah, somewhere along those lines where, if you have a men's body, then it's beneficial, like it helps you. But if you have a woman's body, then it's not as, as it's difficult. So just I was, yeah, wondering about that, how is that men's body is more beneficial? Because, I think like we can, I guess from Krishna conscious perspective, it doesn't matter. But because it's sometimes we hear like men's they both have, in the verses we read, that attachment for both of them is not, it's entangling. So anyway, if anybody has any reflection on that.
Hare Krishna. Sorry, I joined pretty late, but just now. But as you're asking, the thought that's coming to my mind is, when I've heard long time back, some Prabhupada, some daughter, she said, when they speak about intelligence, they speak of women as less intelligent. And so in that context, she said how there are different types of intelligence, right? So there is the, simply put, there is the analytical kind of intelligence, then there is the emotional kind of intelligence. So she was saying that, women are endowed with more of that emotional kind of an intelligence. And, the analytical kind of an intelligence is helpful for reading Shastra. And so this is a long shot, But I'm thinking perhaps something in those lines that, it helps in reading Shastra and whatnot. The second thought that come to my mind, again, this is just from my own thought process, is that, we hear Prabhupada saying that how women have to be protected all the time by either the son or husband or the father. And so, in one sense, she is dependent on all of them. Whereas for a man, he can, when it is time for Vanaprastha or whatnot, he can just get up and go. There is no strings attached for him. I
Hmm.
don't. Those are the two thoughts that's coming to my mind. Not sure if it's in line.
Hmm. Okay, yeah. That makes sense. Yeah, about the intelligence and thank you, Mataji. Okay, any other thoughts or reflections or comments? Hmm.
Hare Krishna, Govinda Mataji. Hare Krishna, all the devotees. Happy Gita Jayanti.
Hare
I was
Krishna.
thinking this topic of being in a body of a man or a woman. I was thinking like the Vedic, as we read, the Vedic way is that the man is attached to the Supreme Lord and the woman serves the husband. And then the man gets liberation and the woman follows the husband. But but Prabhupada, he opened the doors for the women separately because just in case if the man is not interested in the spiritual life, he opened the doors for the women independently. They can go back to Godhead and they can attain the same result as somebody would attain in a body of a man. So if you would like to elaborate something on that, or if my understanding is correct.
Hmm. Yes. Yeah, thank you, Mataji, for bringing that point up. Yeah, definitely, Prabhupada opened it up for women and even in his purports and his in his own life, we can see when we hear the sharings of his women disciple, like he never differentiated in terms of women being less anything. He gave, it's kind of like an equal opportunity employer kind of a situation. So yeah, we're definitely, obviously grateful and indebted to Prabhupada to give us and then, we also in Kali, you guys, we know everything is kind of topsy-turvy in terms of like, who's really like our natures are all so mixed up that sometimes, yeah, like, you can be in a men body, but, have the opposite kind of a nature and vice versa. So, yeah, thank you for bringing that point up. And yeah,
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glory to Srila Prabhupada. This is Sachi Sutta Das.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, please accept too.
Wonderful pointers, Mataji. I agree how the orchestration, the biological intelligence vary as discussed, but how Srila Prabhupada has orchestrated in such a way the husband and wife become a spiritual partners in cultivating every aspect, whether initiation, the wife waits for husband or the husband waits for, it's a wonderful spiritual partnership, and every services they dovetail and go as a partners. We all need some force, and when the force is automatically embedded in a family settings, others follows, and that's a wonderful thing I really appreciate compared to other society or other religious or spiritual organization. We are fortunate to follow the footsteps of our acharyas, especially Srila Prabhupada, how he encouraged women in the services, as discussed here. So this is all wonderful orchestration to go towards the spiritual goal. Even I read, you know, even a small understanding of a transcendental knowledge assures a ticket for us to go back to Godhead. It's like it's in India we are all familiar. If we have, there is a concept called RAC, reservation after cancellation. You will not get a berth, but a seat is assured in train system. So it is something like that in a contemporary world. There is some assurance that's nurturing our faith. Even one slackens, the other is there to help us. No, no, no. We need that constant reminders. I just want to bring that point, Mataji. Thank you for the wonderful pointers that you shared.
Thank you. Yeah, even his purport Prabhupada is saying, right? And that like engage the children, engage the wife, engage the husband. Everybody as a live together as a householder, but with the purpose and with the being Krishna as the center of all the duties and the services that we are to perform according to our ashrama. So thank you, Prabhu. Okay, devotees, then maybe we'll conclude here for today and hope to see all of you today at 5 p.m. for Gita recitation in the temple. Hare Krishna. Panchakalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhaiva cha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Anantakoti Vaishnav Vrinda ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam Mahapuran ki jai.